How's it going, everyone? Aljo here with FlytPath.com. Now in this video, the Autel Evo II does have some intelligent flight modes. So what I want to do is walk you guys through some of those features today and show you exactly what's in the app. And just know that this is mostly software based, so the app might change over time. Really depends on when you're watching this. But as of right now, I just want to walk you guys through some of the intelligent flight modes that are currently on the Autel Evo II. And if you guys are new to my channel, I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews right here on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you guys consider subscribing and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. Now to even start using the intelligent flight modes, the first thing you have to do is actually get the drone up in the air. So let's take off first. All right, so now that the Evo is up in the air, let's go through some of the modes that it does offer, but I'm gonna go through with you guys what's currently in the app as of today. Now to access the intelligent flight modes, you just have to click on that blue button on the very top, and it pulls up a few different options here. We have manual flight, which is in right now. Basically, that just means I'm able to fly it in standard GPS mode. We have things like dynamic track, tripod track, parallel track, viewpoint, orbit, gesture control, tripod, and dual stability. So let's just go through them all. And right now, let's click on dynamic track. Once we click on dynamic track, it gives us a little information on here on what it does. It's going to be following the targeted subject. We hit finish, and you can see a little green dot on screen. What we're going to want to do now is click on that green dot. It'll start now tracking me. Make sure we are recording. And dynamic track basically is just gonna follow you wherever you go, and it'll start moving around you if need be, but you can pretty much just walk around and do whatever you need to do, and dynamic track will then follow you. If I walk around, if you're doing things like running, biking, or anything like that, all the obstacle avoidance will still be on. So you're able to then have it follow you, and it'll just automatically start tracking you. So dynamic track is just a pretty basic follow me mode, or dynamic track mode as they call it, for the drone to then follow you wherever you go. Now, next one we have is tripod track. Now this one's pretty cool because it just simulates your drone being on a tripod. Now you can actually set it up in the air as I have it right now. It is tracking me, as you can see on my screen. It will just track you, but not actually follow you. So this is something that if you just wanted to have and track a subject, but you don't need it flying all the way around, it's really just simulating the drone being on a tripod, and the camera will then tilt and move, and the drone just sits right in place right there. It does not move, as though it is on a tripod, which is pretty cool. Now, next one we have is parallel track. Now this one's kind of cool because it basically will then follow you and maintain the distance away from you however you set it. So I can then walk in this direction or in that direction. It'll maintain that distance between me and the drone, whether I come closer to it or further away, it'll still maintain that distance. So depending on where I walk, or if I'm riding a bike or anything like that, it'll then keep it right, which is called parallel track. It'll keep it in parallel with you as you're moving around. So here we go. Let's go into parallel track right here. Hit finish, hit record. I will move this down. And now we are in parallel track. So if I were to just walk sideways here, it will then maintain the same distance away even as I walk. So right now it's about 20 feet away from me or so. It'll still move back, but the whole time it will then maintain that distance, and of course just follow me in parallel, which is pretty cool. So I can kind of see this one being used if I'm walking around the sidewalk, if I'm riding my bike and I wanted to maintain that distance away from me the entire time. I think parallel track might be a really good option for this one. All right, the next mode we have is viewpoint. Now viewpoint will then follow a track depending on what you set out when you touch the screen. As you can see here, it gives you a little bit of information about it. All you have to do is hit finish. Now if you move the drone back a little bit, and you want to tap on the screen in a direction, you want it to just basically go in that direction, all you have to do here is find the area you want it to fly into. And the thing I noticed is that if you see that white line, that's basically gonna let you know that if you tap below that white line, the drone will actually start descending slightly. If you go on the white line, it'll actually go right at level of where it's at. It'll maintain that height. And if you tap above it, the drone will start to go forward as well as move up a little bit. And there's also a bottom red line, which is an invalid area, which means it won't fly forward if you tap in that area right here. So you're gonna have to tap in between the white line and the red line for it to move forward. Now, like I said, if you tap below the white line, it'll start descending. If you tap above it, it'll start ascending. So it's pointed right at me right now, but what I wanted to do is go straight, and we'll just have it go up and right above those homes right there. So what I want to do is tap right above, just like that. And right now we're doing viewpoint. So once I hit start on my menu, hit start, and you're able to then adjust the speed if you want to. Right now I'll just move it to about 6 miles an hour. And here it comes. And the one thing that's nice about viewpoint is that it'll slowly go into that direction, but you're also able to change it if you wanted to. So if you actually wanted to move it up faster, you can actually use your left stick and raise it up. It'll go up higher. Or if you wanted to bring it down a little bit. And also you can move it from left to right if you wanted to make those adjustments. But at the same time, it'll continue moving forward in that direction that you tap at. And then once you're done with it, all you have to do is hit pause, just like that. And then you can now fly it back to you. Exit out of here, and then you can fly it back to you manually. Now, next one we have is orbit, and orbit's a pretty standard one that most drones do have. Basically what you do is you set the center point, which I'll make is myself, or you can make it anything you want. You want to make it a building or a subject matter. You're gonna fly over the subject. So if I want it to orbit around me, I'm gonna fly right over myself. And then all you have to do is hit the A, and it's letting me know I have to at least be 33 feet and above to start this. So I am at 35 feet, hit A. Now that recorded my center point. Now you do is fly backwards to make your radius. And what I want to do is now make my radius a little bit more. I'll go 65 feet. I want to point it at myself because I want it to orbit around this point, which is going to be me. I'll set that, hit set. And then it gives me the options to fly in a specific direction. So if I wanted to change it from clockwise to counterclockwise, I'm able to do that here. Let me change it to counterclockwise. There you go. Orbit will start. So it's orbiting around me right now. The one thing I did see in here is I was not able to change the speed of the orbit. I'm not sure if it's something I might be missing or if it's something that's just not in this current firmware, but I'm not seeing the ability to change the speed of the orbit. I'm assuming that's going to be a pretty simple fix if I wanted to orbit around me a little bit quicker. And the one thing is, when it's orbiting around the subject matter, you can actually adjust it. You can go higher, you can push the radius back further if you really wanted to. So you can make some of those adjustments here on the controller while it's in flight. So if I wanted to go a little bit higher, I can do that, but I'm going to also want to recenter my subject, which is going to be me. So I can do that. If I wanted to bring it back further, I can pull it back a little bit. There you go. Now in the app, there's one called gesture mode, but as of right now, my current app and firmware does not support gesture mode, so I'm gonna have to skip that one. Next one we have here is tripod, and this is one of the main ones you're gonna want to use, mainly because you're able to now control the speed of your drone. You can control the height and the vertical speed as well as the rotation. So if you're using that left stick to turn, you can adjust now how fast or slow that turn is going to happen. And you really want to do that in order for you to get really, really smooth movements with your drone. And I can now push my sticks all the way forward or all the way to the side, but my drone will only be flying at a really, really, really slow speed if I set it at those lower speeds. Now, if I wanted, of course, to go faster, I can just up the speed, but this is a really good one if you want to get nice, slow, cinematic types of movements. Now, last one we have here is dual stability. This one actually stabilizes not only the camera, but also the performance of the drone itself. So if you're flying and you want to take off, what it does, it doesn't automatically start jerking forward. It actually goes gradually. So that way it makes it nice and smooth, whether you're trying to hit the brakes or if you're trying to accelerate too fast, it actually dampens a lot of that up. So as you can see here, I'm up in the air right now. I'm just turning around. So it's a little bit better if you're trying to get a little bit smoother motion on those start and stops. I actually use dual stability, I think probably one of the most besides tripod, if I'm trying to get something a little bit closer to the subject, a little bit more cinematic, a lot softer movements. I have a little bit more control over it. But I do like dual stability because of the fact it's able to then dampen up those start and stops. So even if I go to the side here and I let go, it doesn't automatically jerk. It'll then kind of cruise a little bit and then come to a slow, soft stop. Now let's turn this back around. And even my yaws are nice and smooth. If I go forward again, and then let it go, there you go. It comes to a slow stop and then comes back. So really good one to use, especially if you want to not have those hard start stops. Dual stability is a really good one. And remember, this is an early version of the app as well as a pre-production unit of the EVO II. I'm assuming things like waypoints and gesture control will come over time. So we'll just have to follow up with the firmware updates on the EVO II. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, don't forget to hit that like button and also don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. If you guys want to see more EVO videos, make sure you guys check out the playlist above as well as down below. This is Autel with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.